Hey guys, thanks again for tuning into yet another episode of the Conversation podcast here at Mccurdy's Comedy Theater. Today, Les and I got to sit down with the very, very funny Rob Little, who's based out of Detroit originally. Very funny comedian. And we got to sit down with Neil Rubenstein. He is a very funny comic from New York. He just started playing our clubs. And we talked about all sorts of stuff. We talked about getting paid in cocaine back in the 80s, all the way to nudist resorts and health insurance. So I think you guys are going to enjoy this one, and I hope you do anyway, and thanks for listening.
Welcome to the conversation.
Ready.
Okay, the conversation from the green room. This is Les Mccurdy, and as always, and I'm kind of explaining it to our comics that are sitting here too at the same time. As close as we can, we just want to try to capture the natural conversation that we would have in the green room, whether there were mics here or not, even though there are mics here.
So the two of us just ignoring each other?
That's exactly right. If that's what you would normally do, that's what you do. At any point, if you feel like you need to get up and go do something else, you get up and go do something else. You want to bring a hooker in here? Please do. Please do. Please. We hadn't had a hooker yet. We've had some girlfriends that look like hookers, but we haven't had a true hooker yet. So that's kind of the deal. So anyway, and always we get into a conversation and we realize we should have the mics on.
Should we introduce ourselves first, or,
Yes,
or you do it?
We should. Well, we should. Well, that's Rob Little, who's
Hi.
talking right there.
Nice.
So you know his voice.
Yes.
And Neil Rubenstein,
Hi.
or Stein, but he goes by Steen. But he'll go by Stein if he don't
If
care.
you-
He
yes.
won't fight you on it.
Just spell it right. You know?
So these guys are playing the club, the theater.
We're talking about all the clubs that are like closing and reopening or getting bought out.
Being
or-
bought, you
a
know,
lot of them right
it's,
now.
It's interesting, you know, and you were just saying that the Brian down in Fort Myers who has Laugh In,
Yep.
and of course he's Captain Brian, right?
There's yeah.
And then you
Naples.
have in Naples, you have Off the Hook Comedy Club, which is Captain Brian.
Right.
There were two guys within 30 minutes of each other with comedy clubs, and they both were Captain Brian.
Oh,
and I
for
told
real?
them, one of you sons of bitches has to get promoted. Somebody has to be a commodore, an admiral,
Yeah.
or get demoted. You know, something. Ensign Brian.
First mate, yeah.
Pirate Brian.
Something. You can't have two Captain Brians.
Well,
in the
I
same
think the
damn
Fort
market.
Myers one was the only one that had his actual captain's license.
Oh, really?
Yeah, is what I was told. I don't know if that's true or not.
Is
I
that
don't know.
did he sell the place just so he could retire on a boat? Like is he?
He's a young guy.
He's not that old, so he just
Well,
was over it.
I was telling you that the guy who had it before, Joe Galanis, great guy, and when I first got into comedy down here, he had a comedy room, and this is early '80s.
Mm-hmm.
But he always had a dance club, a big dance club next door. And that's where he made his money. He just liked comedy,
Right.
so it was extra income, something he liked to do. He always did a low budget room, just weekends,
Right.
kind of a thing.
Amuse me.
Exactly. And so that was his thing. You know, he didn't police the room, which was weird, and he liked having the bar.
Do you know,
in
most
the
people
room.
might not know what police the room means.
Means to tell people to shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
If they're talking during your act or interrupting the show. And and that's the reason, by the way, that I call our place a theater and not a club.
It's,
Right.
A club denotes
It's
that
it's a one of a kind man.
other things are going on,
Yeah.
but a theater is focused on the performance.
Your club is special. It's an oasis.
Yeah.
There's none like there's very few like this in the country. It's all
Yeah.
everyone's chit chatting at tables. Security stands in the back and lets
We
it
get
go.
it. You
and-
want to be bumped up to headline.
I just want to come back again as a
That's
feature.
right. That's right.
Yeah, Dale Jones calls it Disney World.
Yeah.
That's what he calls it.
So anyway, when you're saying he sold it, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me. Really, when Joe sold it to him, he only took the comedy club side. He didn't take the dance club.
Right.
He didn't do the formula that Joe did. And so, and Off the Hook, which is, Laugh-In was a lower budget.
Right.
4 or 5 show a week, mostly weekend, maybe a Thursday. Off the Hook is a full week,
Right.
Wednesday through Sunday. A club. I mean, they bring in.
Yeah.
That's the kind of talent that they book. Well, they're only 30, 40 minutes apart. I mean,
Right.
they're pretty much in the same market. Naples and Fort Myers to me is like me with Sarasota and Bradenton. I need both cities to have a big enough city to do an A comedy room. And you need that down there. You need Fort Myers and Naples, not one or the other.
Now, is Port Charlotte too close for you think?
Well, it was. I didn't like it when they opened.
Right.
It's an hour to get down.
Okay,
there.
I thought it was close.
It's an hour. It's the Port Charlotte Comedy Club, and they do a good job down
Is
there.
that the
Obviously,
Punta
the Vasanis.
Gorda?
Yeah, they do a good job because they've stayed open, and the guy who originally opened it sold it to, and I think they've had it for a year or so, and they seem to be doing all right.
Yeah.
But it's a dinner club,
Right.
and they're big on eating.
Yeah.
But that's an anomaly because generally I think for an A comedy club that's going to do 6, 7, 8 shows a week, that sort of thing, you need at least 500,000 people.
Right.
You need at least that many, up to 1 million. And if you'll look and see successful comedy clubs, you'll find at least 500,000 for a room to work,
Yeah.
up to 1 million. If you're going to have multiple
He means
clubs,
in the city, by the way.
if you're going to have multiple
Yeah.
clubs in a market, 1 per million.
Right.
1 per million
Like
people.
Tampa a little bit.
Tampa, Clearwater, St. Pete
Yeah.
services about 2 million, 2.5 million people. They even get Polk County too, because all
Right.
that comes into Tampa, and they've got 2 clubs.
Right.
Yeah. Manhattan, 10 million people. I think you got about 8 or 10 clubs.
10 clubs,
I
yeah.
mean, that's about the way the formula works.
Right.
And so I didn't know how that was going to go for him down there anyway.
He enjoyed it. He was
And-
trying to do comedy too.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. And
I started in Detroit, and we had probably 10 clubs
at one time.
at one time.
Yeah.
Now there's it's like only a couple.
Well, Ridley told me he really doesn't have any competition at all.
Nothing.
Is Bees still there?
Nope.
So that's the
No.
suburbs, though, right? Ridley's in the
Yeah,
suburbs?
he's
Yeah.
out in
Royal Oak.
Royal
Royal
Oak.
Oak.
Yep.
Yeah, he's out.
Oh, wow.
45 minutes from the city.
Half hour, maybe.
Half hour. Yeah, that's a great club. And
It is
Ridley's
great.
And Ridley runs a great room.
Yeah, he's
a lot
awesome.
A lot of the individual owner rooms. Ridley. You got Nick Costas up there in Cleveland, Bruce Ayers in Birmingham, Lacey out
Yep.
in
Let me
Hermosa
take notes.
Beach.
Hold on, let me take
best.
notes. Let me take notes.
Yeah.
but those rooms are all good rooms, because the owners love the art form and care about it. Or we'd have gotten it. I mean, that's what happened with the comedy boom of the 80s into the 90s, and then by the late 90s it started falling off because the fad was over,
Right.
and now you had to really work a comedy club to get people in there. You were just another form of entertainment, and that's when a lot of people just went, nah. I'll open up a country bar.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
whatever's the next best thing,
Right.
whatever's hot right now.
Another big club in Erie, Pennsylvania, Juniors, just sold. I don't know if you've ever heard of that one.
Well,
but
what do you got? You got that guy Mark with Helium.
Yep.
That's acquiring clubs.
Yep.
You got, and I just met him. God, I just can't believe I'm spacing out his name. I met him up at Just for Laughs in Montreal. He's a Canadian guy that's a friend of Ridley's.
the guy that owns all the comic strips. You talking about the House of Comedies?
I don't know.
He's got like
Rick Brunson.
Rick Bronson.
Yes.
Rick and Tammy. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They have a few now. They're trying to open one in Jersey, but it's getting delayed it's been
And
years.
he told me he wants to open one in Arizona too.
He has
He
one
has
in
one.
Oh, he has
Yeah.
one in Arizona.
Yep.
Okay.
He has Arizona and Minneapolis.
Got ya. really nice guy. I really
In
enjoyed
Edmonton, Canada.
enjoyed
In
him
Canada,
hanging
yeah,
out with
Edmonton.
him. But you got to. I'll tell you the truth. I know me and Bruce Ayers was early on. I thought one of the sharpest comedy club owners that I worked for around. He just brilliant, and I mean he was such a good promoter. He made acts stars in Birmingham when they weren't really stars.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing what. But I know asking
What's
Bruce.
what's the name of that club?
That's a
Stardom?
comedy Stardom, and it's big. It's a 400 plus seat room.
That's a good. I like that city too.
Yeah.
It's a cool
oh,
city.
it's a great city. It's
That
fun.
is a very cool
and
city.
Bruce is. I mean, he's been a mentor for Pam and I.
He's primarily urban now, though, right?
You know, he to a point,
Right.
urban and southern. You know, I mean that's his market.
Sure.
That's his market. And but you know, I know I asked Bruce at one point.
But that's a real city.
oh
You know?
God, yeah. I mean, over 1 million.
Yeah. Are there
Well,
other clubs in that?
Nope.
Nothing else in Birmingham. Next closest club is Atlanta. There used to be one in Huntsville. There might be a weekend up
Mobile
there.
has one now.
Do they
Or
really?
Just north of it.
Oh.
It's Stand Up Live.
Oh,
just
okay.
opened up there.
One time there was one in Montgomery. There was one in Mobile.
Well, that Mobile's far from Birmingham.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. The first club that was in Mobile, full week long club, good club, and the guy who owned it literally left town in the middle of the night. He just went in and took all the cash that
Holy
was
shit.
there and disappeared. I mean, I never heard of anybody even hearing whatever happened.
Was
The
that
guy
that
just
was the
totally
80s?
disappeared. That was probably late 80s.
Is he with the mob or something? Or
I don't know.
did he owe money?
Don't know. Don't know.
Wow.
Southern guy.
The
was
80s
I
was
think
weird,
was from
man.
Mobile. You know, it was a weird one.
Is that what Fargo's about? Like,
Oh, there's a lot of stories back there.
Yeah. But
That's
I tell you,
funny.
I asked Bruce about opening. You know, because the Punchline in Atlanta, those guys tried opening multiple rooms. I think at one time they had 3 or 4.
Sacramento, San Francisco.
Punchline
And
has a
they
bunch.
ended up back to 1. And I asked Bruce about it.
Sacramento's still there.
Sacramento and Philly has a Punchline.
Yeah, but they're not affiliated with.
I think they're owned, but they're not booked by. I think
Yeah.
they're booked by
Yeah.
Live Nation or something.
the
like
original Punchline in Atlanta was Chris DePetta and Ron D'Annunzio.
It was before Chris, though. There was a new owner before Chris.
No, Chris DePetta, was Ron D'Annunzio, and I'm spacing out the other guy's name.
Me too.
Nice guy. They were the main owners, and then Chris was a friend of theirs who was working with him. He was doing the booking and
Right.
managing and that sort of thing. And I think he had some ownership points in it, but they were the main money guys. And then they opened a second one in Atlanta. They opened one, I think, in maybe
Sacramento.
Charleston, but that wasn't them. That
Oh,
was
okay.
not D'Annunzio.
Okay.
I don't know how
right,
they
right.
got away with the same name, but D'Annunzio and them opened. Their clubs were all in the southeast.
license it maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they ended up back to one club.
Yeah.
And I know Bruce was like, you know what, man? So many times, and I've seen it happen with guys opening up. It's impressive when people can open multiple properties, any type,
Yeah.
any type, and do it successfully. I mean,
Yeah.
usually one of them ends up cannibalizing the other one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For all of them to be successful. And I know Bruce was like, hey, man, as far as I'm concerned, one club, that's plenty. I can
Yeah.
make a good living. I don't need the headache.
Yeah.
And I know Pam and I tried multiple rooms.
Right.
Did you?
And, yeah. And they
What
just...
other cities?
No, in this area.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
We tried one down. Well, when we were trying it was because we were in a banquet room at a Holiday Inn, only getting the door. So we weren't in a full blown comedy room yet.
Right.
So we tried a weekend down in Venice,
Full blown.
and yeah, the whole deal. And you don't hear full blown, do you?
Full blown.
I like that name for a comedy club. Though.
Full blown.
I feel like that's never like in reference to something good. You're like,
He's a full-blown heroin addict. That guy.
It's a 4-piece.
full blown lottery winner.
Oh.
Nah, I don't think you use it like that.
Anyway, I give it anybody. The thing to me is, where do you find the managers?
Right.
Where do you find
That's what I was
that
gonna
many
say,
managers that you can
Is you
trust?
really have to you have to really trust your employees to open multiple properties.
Yes.
Yeah.
With anything, with a restaurant, with a comedy
Yes.
club, with a nightclub, with a concert venue, you really need to.
You got to have
you really
a
need to
GM that
let
really
go.
has their shit together.
And I really, there's so few owners of venues that can let go. Like,
Yeah.
you invest so much time and money and effort in your life to putting up these walls, and then you're just gonna be like, yeah, someone I known for a year and a half, you take it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's very very rare that you get it.
Like we're in a, I mean, we're now 32 years here, and we've got our two main managers, Marcella and Bronwyn, have been with us. I think both of them been with us like 15 years.
Yeah.
And they're like family.
Yeah,
And
so maybe now
we've
you could-
grown into
yeah.
that, so that we are now. I mean, I'll be 64 soon. Pam just turned 58, and we're at the point now where, you know, we can be a little more hands off, travel more, you know, take off for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, you know, and they got it.
Yeah.
You know, but we're still overseeing everything. You know,
Yeah.
you're not just.
Y'all got the cameras that you can watch from across the seas. and shit.
Ridley has
That's
it.
what I was gonna
Mark's
say,
that
Ridley's
way
big
too.
about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Mark's got those cameras everywhere.
I
Yeah.
remember when Pam came in for the meeting, and she's like, "By the way," she holds up her phone, and she's like, "I can see you, motherfuckers." And everybody was like, "Oh fuck!" Like this is like a reality TV show.
See you
now.
and hear you.
Yeah, and hear you.
And
It's
hear you.
crazy.
Absolutely.
terrifying.
Absolutely.
What about Daryl Lennox? Wasn't he doing the Yuck Yucks deal or something?
Daryl has
He's
been.
a comic.
He is a comic. Daryl has been working on a partnership with some investors to buy the Yuck Yucks chain.
Really? I didn't know this.
Yeah, it's been going on for probably
Years.
almost 2 years,
Yeah.
year and a half.
Wow.
They to buy the Yuck Yucks chain and then come into the United States and start acquiring clubs.
Yeah.
And what Daryl said, I want all the clubs to be like this club. I want
Yeah.
your club to be the template. He goes, that's his whole thing. All comedy clubs should be run like this.
Yeah.
And good ones are.
Yeah.
As
Now
he
you're
put-
talking off mic.
Well, he's putting his pants on.
So we're walking around in his underwear. We gotta listen to him.
You can hear it.
So, yeah. But I'll tell you what, man. To open a comedy club now, I mean, just to go into a market where, I mean, there's a bunch of great markets that used to have great comedy clubs. Savannah's one of them. Charleston, South Carolina, in the southeast. There's a couple of great markets that to go in there, you don't have a database.
Right.
You know, you don't have any way to put butts in seats unless people buy tickets. And we all know that you're lucky to get a third of your crowd buying tickets when
Yeah.
it's just a regular, when it's just
Right.
a regular, when there's not a celebrity attached to the
Right.
to the show. And so you got to hustle people in. You need a database and that sort of thing. Man, I mean, I would not feel comfortable. Like if I was going to go into a Savannah and open up a room, I would not feel comfortable if I didn't have at least $1.5 million.
There's a guy just
To do
literally
it.
tried to open a club in Savannah,
Yeah.
and he gave up. Couldn't do it.
You
Well,
need-
the wormhole does like a one night a week.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you need some serious money to go into a major market and open a comedy club, because you're going to have to spend some money that first year and a half just to build audience. You're not going to make it. You probably won't make any money.
Right.
But restaurants are that way.
Yeah, like
You know.
5 years usually, right? Is the
Yeah.
average?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know, but hey, you know, I mean, still a lot of clubs out there. That's good. You
Yeah.
know? I mean, it's just the flip side of it from when I got into the business in the '80s. There's, you know, back then there weren't that many comedians. You know, when we
Right.
first started. You know,
Yeah.
and
I started late '90s when you were saying that everything was kind of fizzling out, and people were telling me that all the time. But in Detroit, there were so many
Oh,
clubs.
by the late '90s, there were tons of comedians.
So it was
You
like
know,
still
I mean-
super fun to me, I thought.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh, you started way at the wrong time. And I'm like, really? This seems like the
Yeah.
best time.
I feel like they said to everybody though. Just
Yeah.
Well, that's when I got into it, I came from an acting background, and that's where I have my degree. And I remember we opened the club in '88, and I was telling comics back then, I was going, guys, this phenomenon that we're experiencing right now ain't gonna last.
Yeah.
And right now, and we still don't have a ton of comedians out there. I'm telling you, in 10 years, there'll be 100 comics for every job.
And is that when y'all snorted lines, or how did that work back then? I don't know. That's all I ever heard is everybody got to do awesome drugs.
Well, I'll tell you what the deal was. The first guy that owned the comedy clubs in Florida was a guy named John Cochran, and he passed away a few years ago. Nice guy and great clubs. He had Tampa, he had Sarasota, he had St. Pete, and then later he opened a club in Gainesville. I think he had something in Miami.
He was OJ's lawyer.
He was total
I
criminal.
was say Johnny
Total-
Cochran.
Yeah.
Johnny Cochran. Total criminal. Straight-laced, looked like a banker. Straight-laced looking guy. Ran a great comedy club. He could have owned comedy in Florida, no problem, and made buku money if he had just stuck to that. But all of his clubs were just fronts for cocaine.
Really?
And
You don't think he made money doing that?
well, you make money, but you eventually get arrested.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a matter of time.
Right.
And he pulled it off for several years before he got popped.
Yeah.
But after he was in business for a couple of years, all of a sudden he had a partner, Brother B from Columbia. And you go in to get paid, and it's true. You go in to get paid, and they'd owe you $600, and B would pay you, and he'd pay you. He go, there's 100, 200, 300, and 4 grams, and you go, B. He goes, but that's more. I gave you a bonus. I said, yeah, but I have to sell coke to get my money back.
Right.
I don't want to sell coke to get my money back.
I've heard a few guys tell these stories.
And then he would. And he kind of hem-haw around. He'd go, okay. And then he'd reach in the drawer and give me 4 more grams.
Oh, my God.
He just give more coke. He goes, hey, here you go. I said,
It's a good bonus.
B,
Sell more cocaine.
B, no.
Yeah.
They always paid us, but they always try. And of course, a lot of the guys were happy to take half their pay in coke.
I'm sure. Yeah.
That's the stories I heard. The guys were like, this was awesome.
We got a long drive ahead of me.
When they had a club in St. Pete, it was a place called Tierra Verde, which is it's a marina, and it's a yacht. I mean, and back then there were 2 showrooms on the property. The comedy club would hold about 250, and then they had another room that probably set 400 or 500, and they did jazz. Jazz was real hot in the 80s, and they had Stanley Clark and Jean-Luc Ponty and really heavy jazz people in there.
I like that you're looking at us like we should know those
It
people.
was awesome. It was awesome, and it was it was one of those where you showed up and you're staying in a 2-bedroom condo there, and it's gorgeous.
Right.
It's just stunning on the water. It's unbelievable. So the first night we have a party, and after the show, a couple dozen people ended up at the condo with me and the headliner, and there was coke and drinking and pot and blah blah blah, just fucking around.
Right.
So the next day about noon, knock on the door. I just happened to just get up, and there's a guy standing there, and he goes, "Hey man, I was at the party last night." I go, "Oh, okay, whatever." What's up? He goes, "Do you need any coke?" And I said, No. He goes, "I'm not selling it. Do you need any?" And I said, "Let me get this right. If I say yes, you're just going to put some cocaine on the coffee table and leave?" He goes, "Exactly." I go, "Go ahead. Put it on the coffee table. I'm sure somebody will do something with it." He goes, "Okay." So he walks over there. He throws a couple grams on the coffee table. And he goes, "Just want to make sure you guys are cool. You didn't run out." He goes, "I'm down in 47. If you need it, you just let me know. Party on."
Wow.
Walked away.
Really?
Yes.
You must have threw a hell of a party.
I don't know what we
For a
did. We
guy
were
to
just
be-
funny. We were just
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Comedy was the shit back then.
Wow.
In the 80s.
Rockstar.
Just about all comics were stars in the 80s
Yeah.
because nobody
Wasn't
was
that many,
comedians.
yeah.
There weren't that many of us, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of a deal. So yes, there was a ton of cocaine in the 80s, all coming through here.
Sure.
South Florida. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
It was all coming through here. So yeah, you had a lot of that shit. But the goof is again, Cochran could have made $5 million.
So did he
easy.
get busted?
Oh yeah.
He did. Okay.
Oh yeah. Eventually, they after a while, they had been watching them and they busted him at the comedy club that he had in Tampa.
Wow.
Came in, there was a big bust. And
That's crazy.
Did you know Craig Stanford? Stanford's and Sons in Kansas City.
Oh, no, I didn't. I never played that club. John Penny was the guy wasn't he the comic that was the house MC? And,
Maybe, yeah.
he was a touring comic
Yeah.
too. Yeah, because I knew
He
other
just
comics
passed
that
away.
worked it. Yeah,
Like last year,
That was
yeah.
supposed to be a pretty good room.
It was great.
What room was that? I missed it.
Stanford and Sons in Kansas City. They had 3 of them at one point, and then they fizzled out. Then the dad opened one because the dad and the
Oh,
sons
there's just
were-
one left, right?
I don't know which ones. I think it's even closed. A new club just opened up in Kansas City called the Comedy Club.
Oh, because the guys at the Looney Bin were talking about that they're trying to. The people who ran that are maybe the Comedy Club are trying to do something in Oklahoma.
That's the military guy that you're talking about.
Oh.
Yeah. I forgot what that one's called now, but yeah, he's got crazy. Well, he wrote a book about him and stuff, and he was trying to sell a movie about it and stuff. About how he used to sell the coke and all that, and then the feds caught him and they used him to catch other drug dealers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was insane. I guess we're starting the show, huh?
Yeah, we're going to keep going.
All right. Do we keep
Yeah, we keep talking.
Okay.
Yeah. We're on cocaine.
Tonight,
so.
fedora night. I forgot to bring mine. It looks
It's always
awesome.
fedora night for lists.
I feel like
Don't
this,
bomb. Good luck.
I feel like this is like a lot of pressure.
Feel like
Yeah.
this is pressure.
Like this
'Cause
is a lot
he
of
was-
pressure. Like we have to keep up a conversation, and then like I'm on in 15
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. You don't even get to think. You just got to go right out
He
there.
was mediating so well that we couldn't. We didn't really have to talk.
Yeah. He just drops cocaine on us and he leaves,
Yeah.
It's weird.
I think I brought that up though.
No.
That's all I've ever heard are the crazy
Those
stories down
80s
here.
stories, yeah.
Yeah.
I lived with a Florida comic for a while, and he told me so many crazy stories. Oh, it was nuts. Do you work other Florida clubs down here too? I probably shouldn't say that in front of them.
Not yet.
Yes, no.
Not well. I've done. I featured at Laughing. I'm going back next month, and then
Yeah.
I have my first weekend.
Did you write them and double check?
Yeah, I wrote him, and he was like, "Yeah, I sold the club to this other guy. He'll get in touch with you." And I was like, "No."
Did he tell you his name? Because if not, I can give it to you.
He just told me his name.
Oh, okay.
No info though. No
He
like
writes back on
contact info.
Facebook and everything, so just check it.
So it's a new club owner,
Yeah.
new manager, new staff, and everything too. or-
Everything new.
Wow. So they just
Yeah.
cleaned house in there. Or-
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's weird.
A little more than I'd wanted, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways. Oh.
What's
What's it looking like out there tonight? Did anybody go look?
It's packed.
It is?
Yeah, it's like
Sweet.
240 on the books or something, 250 on the books.
Oh, that's
Last
nice.
night was fucking good. I had a good.
Were you here?
Yeah.
I didn't even.
I was in the back of the room. Yeah, you walked by me and you were like, "What's up, dude?" And I was
Oh,
like,
well, I didn't even. Okay.
Yeah. I recognize
Why didn't
from
you
last
introduce yourself, you jerk?
Well, because you just got off and you were like sweating and you were like, "I just murdered the audience," and I was like, "I'm just gonna let you go."
Yeah.
I posted that photo on Instagram last night, and a guy I know, an older gentleman that I used to work with, he,
Which photo?
I took a photo from there,
Oh yeah.
posted on Instagram. You
I didn't see
reposted it. It's all right.
Is it of us?
It's of you.
Oh, what was I doing?
No, you're looking handsome,
Something
looking like a
dumb.
good-looking
You're
guy.
looking good, yeah.
You jerk.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
And the Mccurdy's reposted
Oh,
it,
yeah.
whatever. But whatever, my buddy saw it and he was like, "Oh, I saw him on a cruise ship. He was so good. We went the second night."
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so there you go.
That's pretty cool. Did they laugh just as hard the second time, or?
It wasn't as good. I
like,
did different shows
He's
every
like,
show.
we went the second night, and then we're like, that's enough.
We're done with comedy now.
Okay, what's your Instagram, Neil? I can't find it.
At
Neil
Neil Rubenstein on Instagram.
Is it really? You got Neil Rubenstein?
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty good.
Yeah. I try to get Neil Rubenstein, but
I got it, and
The
it's not coming up.
pronunciation.
it's taken.
Do you spell Neil Neal?
Neil.
That's why.
And if you guys want to find me on YouTube, it's Neil Rubenstein Reviews It.
Yeah, what have you been doing on there with the?
Just reviews right now. Well, I have like a bunch
Is it
of
like
other
funny,
stuff.
like comedic reviews of stuff, or?
I mean, there's funny to them.
I don't see no picture of me. that
You know,
use.
on my story.
Is it like accidental funny? Like,
No. I mean, I'm an idiot. So
How do
yeah.
you find it?
Huh?
How do you find it?
You ever use Instagram?
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm looking at your
my-
pictures and it's not
Oh,
there.
my story.
I don't know how to do that.
Click on the icon. Click on my circle.
Okay.
Grandpa.
Did you call me grandpa?
Someone showed Grandpa how to use Instagram.
You know what? I don't know how to use it.
I'm probably older
It's
than you.
not coming up, jerk. So shut up.
It's not going up, jerk. Oh,
son
then
of
it
a
maybe
bitch, I did
expired.
that
Maybe it
already.
expired.
Oh.
Maybe it expired. Oh, check your mentions.
Such a jerk.
Check your emails, your messages.
Just start yelling at your phone until it tells what you want.
Siri! Siri, show me the damn picture.
Show me the pictures.
I'm looking at all of.
No, go to the messages. It'll say Neil mentioned
Click
you,
on
right?
the thing. Oh, there it is. I see it.
There you
Oh,
go.
what does this say? Waxing nostalgic. You jerk. Oh, I don't like that.
You don't like the picture?
No. I gotta learn how to do this. I've never done these.
Instagram?
No, but like yes, Instagram. I just post pictures.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I've never done the stories on.
Yeah, Instagram's pushing the stories because they want to crush
How do you-
Snapchat.
So
Yeah.
how do you post a story?
Just your circle.
I
Like
sound
hit
like
your
an
circle.
idiot, man.
You hit
Okay.
You hit the circle
Hit your
button.
circle.
I'm at it.
Hit the X button.
Add
your
a story,
circle.
Add a story. Got
Hit
it.
the triangle button. Circle. You ever play PlayStation? It's like that.
Hit your circle.
Why can't you just do it from a picture you already posted?
and then LR. LR.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm
Up,
there.
down,
Share
up,
on
down.
Instagram. Enable camera access. Enable microphone. But why can't I just go from? Can you select a
Yeah,
picture?
Yeah. you can-
Okay. I'm gonna throat punch both of you guys. Okay, I see how you do it. Yeah. Why? But what I'm saying is, why can't you just? You know,
can.
on Facebook, you can.
You can.
You add a story, or you add a picture, and you say add it to story right away.
Oh, because they're trying to do two different things.
Isn't Instagram owned by Facebook though?
Yeah, but Facebook isn't trying to crush Snapchat. Instagram's
Yeah.
trying to crush Snapchat.
Why don't they just buy it? That's what they do with everything else. They just
Maybe,
acquire.
maybe Snapchat doesn't want to sell. They see more money.
Maybe. How does Snapchat make money?
Ads?
Do they have ads?
I don't know.
I've never really seen ads on Snapchat.
It's a good question. How does Snapchat make money?
I didn't know how Facebook made money for the longest time.
Ads.
And they're like, oh yeah, ads. Okay. Because at first they were like, no ads.
Yeah.
Remember?
But then you had to pay to show your stuff to people.
Yeah.
That's why I don't mess with Facebook, because as a content creator, they want you to post your stuff for free on their platform
And
to
then pay.
boost their platform.
Yeah.
And then if you want more eyeballs on your stuff, you have to pay them to show it to people
Yeah.
that are already following you.
To boost it.
They're already following me.
Yeah.
I did the work.
Yeah.
I did the work. I got the followers according to your rules. Now you're not letting me show the things that these people click to see.
Is it because it's not showing up in their feed?
Yeah, because their algorithm is whatever, and then they suppress things. Like if you write the word YouTube in your post, they don't show it to anybody.
That's
What are you talking about?
Facebook being a shitty platform for
Oh.
artists, for
Well, that
creators.
sucks.
Let's bring back MySpace. What do you say?
I'm in.
Let's go.
Oh my god, I go back to Friendster.
I'll go back. I'll go back to Makeout Club.
Yeah. I'll go back to Instant Messenger.
I'll go
AOL.
back. I'll go back to my two-way pager.
Yeah, Facebook has been doing some shit like that. Didn't they just get in a bunch of trouble? I didn't pay attention to that.
Yeah, there's a because of that whole the voting thing, the
Yeah.
fake news thing. They were showing people because their algorithm is so fine tuned.
Yeah.
They had given the information to somebody, and then they got fined like $5 billion or something, which is like for
Like-
Facebook is like
Yeah.
imaginary money.
Yeah. We'll just print that money real quick. Hold on. It's crazy. Crazy. Zuckerberg.
They sound great.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if
I'll
it's,
ruin it.
I don't know if it's we're getting this much attention because Louis coming or something, but
Who?
yeah. I heard this dude, Hurricane Louis, is coming. But that's gonna be crazy.
It's awesome.
He's got 8 shows all sold out. The staff here is gonna implode, and we're all gonna murder each other by the end of the week. But
yeah, because you're here
yeah, we don't get a break. We're going all the way through the whole
man.
week,
this Wednesday.
doing
all the way
21
through
shows.
Next Sunday.
Yeah. Straight, and then we have to close with Drag Queen Bingo, as the Sunday show.
Is that what you're sticking around for, Neil?
Is this it's Drag Queen Bingo? Man,
Look at that back. How old are you? You son of a
Yeah.
bitch.
Drag queens get away with it.
oh damn.
How do drag queens get away with it? It's like blackface for transgender people.
Drag Queen. Jesus,
How are you allowed to do that?
You're right.
is that a bit? That's hilarious.
That is a good idea. Yeah.
Well, drag queens are like purposely offensive too. Like they can get away with anything. You know, they can be racist. They can be, you know, they can make fun of fat people
Everyone can make
to their face, and everybody's just like, wow, amazing, huh?
Fat people is still the one thing that's still on limits.
You can make fun of fat people still, if you're fat though, right? Oh really?
Yeah, you can still body shame fat people.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
You know what group does not get support? Is swingers. I'm not saying that to be funny. It's true. Like gay, lesbian, transsexual, all that.
Oh, there's
But
no S.
swingers, nothing. It's actually still taboo, looked down upon, and it's I don't know.
Swinging, huh? Yeah, but isn't everybody like polyamorous now? We're like, oh, I don't
That's
believe in
another
relationships.
reason. Another reason it shouldn't be looked down upon. But
Yeah, swinging.
yeah.
Do they still have like swinger parties and stuff?
Oh my God, I work a ton of their events. That's why.
Oh, really?
That's why I was like sticking up for them, because the things that has happened recently with some groups, it's just ridiculous.
You gotta join the LGBTQIA plus sign S.
Yeah.
S is
Prince
for
symbol.
swingers.
Yeah, swingers, man. So you work their events? Like, what's
I've
that
worked several like cruise ships that
There's
were
just-
swinger events. I've been several clubs,
like? Yeah.
nudist resorts. I've done a bunch.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it like to work in a nudist resort? That's,
Can you be dressed?
I told them you're supposed to have a license to perform nude,
Oh.
and if you're getting paid and you're performing nude, it's considered erotic entertainment. Doesn't matter what you're going to be a juggler. Doesn't
Right.
matter. But the
Juggler.
first one I did, I told them I wasn't doing it, and then they told me the show started at 6 and it didn't start till like 8 or 9, and they just kept feeding me drinks. And by the time the show started, I was like, let's start the music, and I was naked already.
are you serious?
Yeah,
So you
because
did-
they made you take the tour. You had to do the tour naked.
Oh, okay.
If you do a tour, yeah. But
Wow.
you know what? It was not nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, drinks help, but
I'm sober and I got a little dick. So.
well, they wouldn't even give a they don't care.
They don't care. No.
No, there's
no-
tons of that. You'd fit it right in.
There's no judgment. Yeah.
Okay, you changed my mind.
Take them on the road with you.
That's awesome.
So you did like a whole stand up, like
I've
naked,
done a few of them now. Yeah.
just completely naked.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I did one where it did not go well.
Really?
Yeah, and then I started really turtling up on that one. It was like
Bombing naked.
I had like this Mexican lady just heckling me and would not. She was relentless. And normally I've never had a problem with hecklers, but when
Yeah.
you're naked, it's a whole different beast.
Because you're vulnerable.
Yeah,
Like
and
you're.
she started calling me out.
Oh wow.
About your
Oh
dick?
yeah, you're not growing now, are you? And I'm like, what?
Oh, my
But
God.
I know.
Damn.
It was a nightmare.
Was she like awful to look at though? Little fat
Yes,
Mexican lady?
she was, and that's why I was giving it back to her. But you look like a jerk if you're ripping on a woman. But they can rip on you all night and no
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah.
That's weird. Man. So is there like nudist swinger?
Yes, but you know what? The nudists don't want to be like. Most of them are not swingers. They're just nudists. They're just about being comfortable.
Being comfortable, right?
But there's a lot of them that are swingers, but they do not talk about it in front of the nudists.
Wow, that's so weird. Like,
Yeah.
it's like shameful about
It's very.
switching partners, huh?
I guess, yeah.
Wow. So do swingers have sex with their actual partner too?
Yeah.
And they just
Oh, yeah.
swap around
Yep.
for fun? It's like prearranged.
It's
sort of
not
thing?
like though. It's not like you walk in and go, "You come here." It's not like that. It's more like you're at like a club and you meet another couple and you kind of dance and get to
Yeah.
know them. And I mean, it's rarely like, "Hey, let's go."
Yeah. That's weird. I mean, it's not weird. I gotta stop saying
It's
that.
different.
It's different.
It's definitely different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting, yeah. But yeah, you're right. They don't have any representation. Like people still
No.
look at that as taboo.
No.
Yeah, but polyamorous is such a big thing now. I don't know, man.
It
Dude,
still
every
doesn't
person that's
matter.
like 21 and below is polyamorous. It seems. That's what they say. Which I think is just like a cop out, probably, right? Just don't want to commit.
No one, and like they don't want to be called a slut.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Or a man whore.
That doesn't bother us as much.
No, not really. What are you gonna hurt my feelings?
You know what I hate is when a girl will come up, and I don't know if you ever had this. You're married, so you probably don't hear it as often. But a girl will come up and go, "Oh, you probably have a girl in every city." And it's
Yeah.
like, and I'm like, "Oh, so you probably screw every comedian that comes in then?" Huh?
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's such a rude thing to say. They don't think nothing. Oh, I didn't mean it like. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Because if I said the same thing to you, you'd be so pissed off right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Just call me a slut. Fucking
You fuck every comedian that comes through, right?
Right.
She's like, you just probably have a little slut in every city you go to.
Like you just.
That's a compliment, though,
Do
maybe.
you want to be for this city or not? No, that's horrible.
Yeah, join my email list.
Yeah, you want to be Port Sarasota or what, baby?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's funny.
How long do we got to do this?
Until it gets awkward. And
It's
then
just on all night.
Do we have to do this?
it's a forced podcast.
So now, do you set up the one for after too?
No, that's a different guy.
Really?
Yeah. It's just so weird.
Why would they need another guy that does the exact same thing?
I don't know. It's because they live stream it from the booth and everything.
Oh, okay.
So it's on YouTube and everything.
Oh, wow.
So it's cool. We're just trying to do something that
Different.
other
yeah.
clubs aren't really doing.
I've never seen a club do that.
No. And we've gotten some good traction so far on the podcast. People actually are. I thought people were gonna be like, what the fuck are they gonna listen to this for?
Yeah.
And then,
Well,
like-
I feel that about every podcast.
Yeah,
that's every
exactly.
Right, exactly. That is.
But
every
then
podcast.
it's you find that it's mostly like real comedy fans. They really want to know what we're talking about back here.
Yeah.
They just assume. Sometimes it's really funny. Sometimes it's like weird, like controversial, and like conspiracy.
I'll tell you a cool green room to be in is the Laugh Factory in Vegas.
Really?
I play that one a couple times a year, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you, they got liquor everywhere. They got awesome old pictures of all the comedians that have come through.
Wow.
And then comedians stop in all the time.
Oh, that's
So, like, big names, you'll be hanging out, and all Louis Anderson or Brian Regan or somebody will stop in
Wow.
and just hang out. And then they, like, one night, like, the guy that books it, Harry, he isn't a comedian, been around forever. He will have, like, karaoke, and all these comedians stop in and just sing karaoke. It's so
no
fun.
shit. They create like a hangout. Like a,
It's like a fun hangout. It's a
There's
huge,
a huge green room, like big
Yeah.
couches and shit.
really.
Yeah, there's tons of food and drinks, and
Damn, that sounds amazing.
it's neat.
Yeah.
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 But they don't do this. They don't do a podcast.
They don't do podcasts.
No. Karaoke. No podcast. Now you add that here, people are going, and you got to make it into a video cast.
Yeah.
YouTube.
Right.
That one's always fun, I think, because it's like
The YouTube one after is
the audience actually sticks around.
What does he talk? What does he ask?
He just interviews. That's like an actual interview.
To me, I feel like it's still going to be him talking the whole time, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, because I mean, that's
Is there
his
any questions
personality.
to us? Yeah.
Yeah, he's the only one that can host this podcast without making it awkward. Like, every time he leaves, I'm always like,
Is it like that every time?
yeah.
Well, yeah, because he just takes over.
Well, I mean, he go like he's a very what's the word? He's like a charismatic guy.
Type A kind of
And
thing.
yeah, he was like talking. He was like very engaging and very entertaining. And then like,
Probably does have a lot
and
of
like he walked onto stage like he was like wrapping up with us and just up the stage. I was like, wait, what?
Are we
That was
done?
seamless.
Yeah, it's hilarious to me.
You
You guys
couldn't
take
do
care.
that?
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think I need to get like
I
in
could
the
do
zone.
that.
Yeah, it's weird. Some comics need to, some comics say they need to, but then I feel like they get warmed up just from having conversation a little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
this helps. Yeah.
and get a little like looser, I guess.
Well, we'll find out in
We'll find out, right?
2 to 12 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know when he's gonna get off. You never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun though. He wanted to do one, which I was like, maybe it'll work. He wanted to mic the bar. Just
Okay.
mic up the bar and just listen. So we would like edit down
That sounds
the
like they're just
shit
trying
talking.
to watch their bar people.
I know, right? We would just edit down like the shit talking between the bartenders, the servers, and like the customers and shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't. That's,
Also, like a legal thing.
yeah,
Right.
it's a little weird.
Is that a legal thing? Like, you can't
I
just
don't think so. I think
You can just record people without their permission.
Well, our like our closed circuit television stuff has microphones in it. So, yeah.
Yeah, but you can't release that to the public.
No, we couldn't. So we'd have to like sign people like I don't know how it works. That's why I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. But I think this is a second party consent, or I don't think this is a first party consent. I know California is you have to have people release their stuff,
Wow.
but I think that you can just record people here, especially on your own property.
I hate to do this, but I want to go sit out and
Yeah.
I like calling off stuff if you guys say anything that I want to call back. You don't, but I mean, Les does.
Wait, I don't understand what you said. So you're
I-
leaving me alone.
Yes.
And then I'm going to go on stage in 2 seconds.
That's all right. You shut it off.
Yeah, we'll just
Oh, you just shut it off?
we'll just pause it.
Oh, yeah, pause it.
You want to pause it?
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back, right?
Yeah, we'll come back.
I want to watch your set anyway.
After this break.
I want to watch your set. All right, we'll be back.
What was
Afterlife is new, and
back.
the one-upper is new.
Oh, the one-up thing. Yeah, after
That's
you did
the
the
first
names.
time I even told that joke on stage, that one-upper joke.
Nice.
I haven't even done it at a mic or anything. That was brand new.
Oh, nice.
It worked fine.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I'll punch it up some.
Yeah, no. It's always great when something gets a couple of laughs
Yeah,
right out of the box.
I know
you
where I
know?
am.
Yeah.
Keep those. Let's get them
There we
closer
go.
together. See
Nice.
if I can expand on it.
Nice. That's good. Yeah.
And it feels like a real story. I mean,
Right.
most of it's real anyway, but it feels like I'm just
right.
telling them a story. So I feel like it went well.
It's kind of your demeanor.
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the Afterlife stuff is new. I did that yesterday. I did it once in Oklahoma last weekend. So I'm getting the idea where those jokes are.
There's something funny about the Mormon and the Scientologists thinking each other are idiots.
I gotta get it so much closer to. Because each of those things is like 3 sentences and there's no laughs.
Yeah.
I gotta.
Right.
There's like a little bit of a recognition laugh when I say Scientologists because everyone kind of thinks they're like idiots.
Right.
Yeah.
But I gotta get that closer together.
You know what I love about a bit like that is that once you establish it and get the just the couple of them working, I mean, you can keep adding to it because there's so many
Right.
religions that have crazy
Yep.
or what you would deem crazy
Right,
beliefs,
right.
you
Yep,
know.
Yep. And there's all like I can like add conspiracy theories and all these
Right.
things like
Flat
could-
Earth?
Yeah, well I mentioned
That's
flat
money.
Earth, but I could take that out and put it like I could say vampires. You know what I
Right,
mean? I
right.
could say whatever I want there.
Right, right.
It doesn't have to be my brother. It could be a toothless lady on the subway. Like I can just keep.
Yeah.
I can keep pulling like. If they like the brother, then I can separate a little bit, and then I can see how extreme I can get
Right.
with that character and what they're telling me is real. That I believe them, like
Right.
you know, like if the toothless woman on the subway says Godzilla exists, then I can be like, oh, see, I knew it. You believe in dinosaurs? Why can't I believe in Godzilla? And like, or like, see
Yeah.
where they not that that's probably not funny, but
But yeah, no.
that idea that like that the accordion. Like I
Sure.
can expand and it
Yeah.
doesn't work. Close back up. I
Exactly.
expand, close back up.
Exactly.
I think that's the beauty of like hyperbole, though.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
It's
Well,
like you
that's-
can do whatever you want with it, really. Yeah.
That's what I always like to do with any bit is that just once you kind of get some, especially if it's kind of a story type of thing. It's truly not a one-liner, and I enjoy just getting on the internet and starting to research, anything about that, because it it is when you go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, you're gonna find.
It just stuff starts coming up that
Yeah.
just writes itself. I mean, more bizarre than you could ever come up with in your own head. Sometimes, I mean,
yeah.
just
Yeah.
And once you establish 3 or 4 belief systems that are really, I mean, like the Mormon thing. You go, that's with Mormons. That only there's that limited number of people that get to go to heaven. I think.
Yeah.
I think it's
Oh,
under.
no, that's Jehovah's Witness.
It's a Jehovah's
Yeah,
Witness.
it's
But
100,
Scientology,
125,000 or something.
Yeah. There's a limited number.
But Scientology too. There's only a certain amount of souls in the universe.
That's right.
Yeah,
They get to go. So what's the attraction? You know what I mean? To like
Ego.
everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Ego,
They
when you
think
go, yeah, I'm one of those.
I'm the special one. Yeah. For real. That's what Jehovah's Witness is all about. Like, that's why that's like part of the scam, in my opinion, is that like you have to recruit X amount of people to even be considered to be one of the 150,000 that are saved.
Right.
Which is like hilarious to me. It's like, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, look.
It's a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Basically.
Kind of.
I'm genuine about that part of the joke. I don't crap on anyone's beliefs.
Yeah.
You believe,
Sure.
you believe, I believe.
Absolutely.
Whatever. I'm not gonna. I don't want to. Especially like, I feel bad. Like the flat earther, like he believes something that he can't prove, and we believe stuff we can't prove. But why is he the biggest idiot?
Yeah.
You know
Oh,
what I mean?
exactly.
It's like,
Because he's an idiot.
Exactly.
It's just-
Yeah. Well, the only
to
thing.
be fair, probably, but
To me-
I feel for them.
Yeah. To me, the only thing that is that if your belief system
Infringes.
demonizes everyone else.
Right. If you
It-
infringe on someone else's
Yeah, so
shit,
it's like if you don't believe the way I believe,
You die.
you go to hell. You
Right,
you
right,
demonize them.
Yeah.
Then
Right.
and that's where a lot of the bullshit and the violent shit in the world happens.
Yeah.
In the Middle East.
Although I heard Jimmy Carter talk once about his foundation. What they mainly do is, because I didn't realize, I saw him in an interview, I think with Charlie Rose, his foundation goes to where there are civil wars,
Yeah.
where and they try to help them negotiate a peace.
Right.
That's like one of the main things the Carter Foundation does. And he was talking about, he goes, if you ask the public how many countries are at war right now, you would probably say 6 or 7, or you know what I mean? And he goes, there's like 100. He goes,
Yeah.
there's that many civil wars going on all the time.
Yeah.
And he goes, let me tell you something. They'll throw up that it's religion, especially like places like the Middle East or what, that it's a religious thing. He goes, I have never seen one that wasn't about money.
Yeah.
He goes, when it comes down to brass tacks, it's about who has control of a piece of property that has important mineral rights or a water passageway or something that is tied to money.
Yep. Look at the
And he-
Congo.
right.
The Congo's
And he goes,
perfect.
the leadership, he goes, that's how they'll get their people fired up.
Right.
To kill the other side is they'll use religion as a way to fire them up.
Yeah.
But the leadership on the top's just trying to control
Yeah.
a piece of land,
Pretty
or
much.
whatever for money.
Like the Congo is a perfect example of that, only because, like, with the resources that they have, you would think that they'd be the number one country in the world.
Well,
But it's a vested interest in destabilizing that government.
the when I went to
Was it all
Tanzania.
diamonds? Is it all diamonds there? Or
It's
something?
lithium, diamonds. They have every single raw resource that you would ever, and they fuel the planet with it. So it's a vested interest from all these other groups to go.
Congo is the real
to
life
just-
Wakanda.
To stabilize
Right.
the whole
They
region.
have vibranium.
Because exactly.
vibranium?
Basically, I'm surprised they don't. Yeah, it's
Well,
insane.
because they're I think from what I understand is, and I understood this when I went to Tanzania, is that the general population in most of those areas were the native people were like the Native Americans here. They didn't have a vested interest in making money.
No.
That wasn't where they were at. They liked their life, living off the land that they had done for generations.
Yeah.
And that's all they wanted, Well, then of course, at a point, Western society comes in there and realizes, well, these people are going to be very easy to exploit.
Oh yeah.
Very easy.
They didn't know that there was some.
And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
And I know when we were in Tanzania, my brother-in-law is a Lutheran minister, and they do.
Oh, Lutherans, they're the dumb ones.
They are. No, they are. They do. They want to speak. They want to speak Latin, but they never could really figure it out. But they got attached to a group there, and they were sending them money and stuff to build a school and a church and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So he really got hipped out to how corrupt everything was over there, and when we went over, he was explaining to us. He was like, Tanzania and Kenya and South Africa are three of the most advanced countries, and they're backwards as shit. And it's because the reason is because Kenya and Tanzania has the Serengeti,
Right.
which is a huge tourist drive.
Yeah.
So they have Mount Kilimanjaro.
I was gonna say
so you've got
I was going to say that. I knew that. I know
yeah,
facts.
yeah. So you've got a lot of tourism, so you have to keep your country somewhat together, or
Yeah.
tourists won't come there if it's not safe. Well, it's not safe.
It's not safe.
It's not safe. And because of the extreme poverty.
Yeah.
And I know Brian was explaining to us, my brother-in-law, he said the easiest way to keep most of the population under the thumb of a small leadership, no public transportation. No public transportation. If you don't have public transportation, the people can only trade as far as they can walk.
Right, and they can't organize either.
They can't organize.
Yeah.
They can't organize. They can't move goods.
Yeah.
So you keep that in a very few hands, and it was just like that simple.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
Well, that's you guys familiar with Robert Moses? So Long Island, all our highways and parks were designed by this guy Robert Moses.
oh, okay.
And he was super racist. So all his parkways are like super narrow, windy, with low overpasses, so buses can't take them.
Oh,
Wow.
so you stop the public
Stop the public
transportation.
transportation.
That's some evil genius
That's
shit right
some
there.
evil genius
Yes,
shit.
it is. Yes, it
Because
is.
it's subtle.
That's the
It's
most subtle racism.
Yeah.
That's racism that like people don't even notice you're doing it. Like, oh, we'll do low bridges so it's beautiful and it blah blah blah, and it's windy so the sun's never in your eyes for too long, and it's along the coast.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, that sounds great. And like, oh, but how do the people commute? You're like, oh, you need to afford a car.
Yeah. You need a sports car that can handle windy roads. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
That's insane.
It is. It is. It's
Man.
incredible, I mean, when I was researching Tanzania before we went, I look at the demographics. The average now, it's been 15 years ago or so that we went. The average life expectancy of a man and a woman in Tanzania, a man is 42, woman is 45. Average life expectancy.
Holy shit.
Something like 60 to 70% of the population is teenager.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Yes, it
isn't
is.
there like a thing? It's like a child soldier thing there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's like it skews the number real bad. Like, it's like if you live past 17, you'll probably live to 70, but you won't get to 17. So
Right.
that, like,
Right.
I think it's something like, it's like one of those things.
Yeah.
Like there was a little while in America where like the infant mortality rate was so crazy that it screwed up the life expectancy.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
it was like, if you live past 3, you're gonna make it to 60,
Yeah.
but you're not gonna live past 3.
Right.
And I think that's the thing in Tanzania. It's like because of child soldiers and because of Boko Haram and because of all the like crazy things that they
Sure,
do there.
sure.
Like you're not gonna live past 17, but you get lucky.
do.
You're going to 70, pal.
Yeah.
Good on you.
It's that hazardous
Yeah, yeah,
lifestyle.
And the other thing was, like, he was going, you got to understand that we're talking about stealing, and of course, and I mean, you'll get your shit stolen in a heartbeat over there.
Yeah, fuck.
But it's because they have to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the only way to get over if you're not connected, So
Right.
it's kind of like Brian was saying, he goes, if you're given the opportunity to take bribes and do things like, and you don't, well, you're an idiot.
Right,
I
right.
mean, because it's the only shot you got, and there's no social system
No.
for the elderly.
Oh,
If you
really?
don't have family
You're dead.
to take care of you, you're dead. You're
That's
dead.
scary as hell.
Yes.
I think that's the main difference with like our country and so many others is that we have like programs to help old elderly people.
Well, you figure most. I mean, from my
Civilized.
understanding, the Asian culture is very big on
yeah.
you just take them in.
Right,
Now
right,
we
right.
don't like to do that.
No,
we
we have to
like
put 'em somewhere.
Put them in there, But many cultures. I think Asian. I think some of the European cultures. The family's the family.
Yeah, you
and
don't.
when people just they don't have a big deal. I mean, hell, I think a lot of families in some European countries, blended families live together.
Yeah.
You might have a mom and dad that's pretty successful, and they got a nice big enough house and that maybe their son and their daughter and their family live there too,
Right.
or you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
close on the same property, or just
Yeah.
really close. Which I think we used to do that in America way back when.
Yeah,
back
like-
in the when agriculture was the main way we made money.
Yeah, you had like dynasties that were just had farms and they just stayed
Right.
there forever.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a cultural difference. Like for some reason that's the rite of passage now, or you have to leave the home. You have to go
Right.
and make your own.
Right. But no, I think most
Indians too.
yeah, I think most democratic. I mean, I think most democratic. Most societies that are successful societies, we'll just
Yeah.
say, the European countries that we think about, some of the Asian countries, they take care of the elderly. They,
Yeah.
they don't just throw them to the wolves. But
you
in
have to
some
have
of those
family.
African countries, that's
Yeah.
if you don't have family to take care of you, you're screwed.
Yeah.
My theory is throw all the old people in a volcano.
That's
You know.
At a
Scientology.
certain age.
When they get to a certain age. Yeah.
Well, you remember a movie called Logan's Run?
I heard about that.
Well, what was it, 35 or
Yeah.
40?
Yeah.
There was an age where
I mean, it should be older than that.
you're
now,
done.
but, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they only allow you to live that long.
Recycle. Yeah.
Yes.
Jeez.
Uh-huh.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, because there had been Armageddon, and now there was the people that were left, and it was a domed city,
Oh,
because you
yeah.
weren't supposed to, you couldn't,
Limited
there was
resources.
radioactive or whatever, you can't go outside of it, so there was limited resources, and, and everybody's young, and so everybody's young and beautiful.
Right.
Nobody gets married because you just make babies.
Yeah.
You don't.
Sustain the
Nobody
population.
has a baby anymore. It's all laboratory and that sort of thing.
Like
Interesting movie.
Like our future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting scary. I don't know. Saw a thing like CRISPR, where they're able to genetically modify people's DNA now to like, which is like the pros of it. They could rid certain diseases out.
Right.
But then
slope.
But then you're selecting, it's selective breeding and stuff with humans.
Sure.
Even more than that, because you're not even worried about who's breeding. Like now, you can just take the embryos and like rearrange their cells, and you can like if you want blue eyes. Oh,
Well, you
blue
know,
eyes.
I
Wanna
read
be
this.
6 foot tall?
I
6
read
foot
this
tall?
article about that
Yeah.
was talking about how wealthy people are going to, with medical technology, are going to separate themselves aging wise from the rest of the population. There's going to be a point where if you have enough money, you'll be able to live maybe indefinitely, but definitely for a really long time,
That
maybe hundreds
exists.
of years.
That exists now, though.
But
Regina
if
King?
you don't have the money, you're still caught in that deal of you're going to make it to 80 or whatever.
That's where we're at now, though. I mean, look, what you're saying is absolutely right. In the future, it's going to be an even bigger gap. It's going to be you're living to 500, whatever.
Yes.
But now, if you get sick and you're on Medicaid or Obamacare and it's $400 a month for your insurance, and then it's $75 to see a specialist, but you're not going to take care of the small ailments. You die at 62. You die at whatever it is. If you have the money, you get rid of the thing. You have a tumor, gone in a minute. You have a Magic Johnson gets rid of AIDS. Rich people get rid of diseases.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's the big inequality, I think, probably more than anything else. You know, if people could just have their health.
Pancreatic cancer. That's the big one. So
Yeah.
if you're like a middle class person and you get pancreatic cancer, you're dead in a week.
Yeah.
Like in a week. My friend's dad died of it. I saw someone else. Like you get it, you're dead. Alex Trebek beat it. Ruth Bader Ginsburg beat it.
Yeah.
And it's
If you're
because
important
they have
enough.
money, they can afford to fight these things.
That's
and it's
right.
just it's
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like, listen, pancreatic cancer is a death sentence, but these people are fine now.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Come on.
Which, by the way, I just had a talk with my doctor last year, and my doctor is an anti-aging guy, and so I'm super into that. You know, I'm into staying fit and as much as I can, and being preemptive. So I said, you know, I'm doing all this stuff. I really take care of myself. I watch it. I'm not fanatical about it, but you know.
Yeah.
But I said, liver cancer and pancreatic cancer. Every time, by the time you catch it, it's stage
You're
4,
dead.
and you're fucked. And I said, now don't tell me there's not some kind of something that you can do. And so he even said to me, he goes, well, you know, there's certain things we can look for in your blood work, you know, but he didn't really give me anything. So I did my own research on it. You know what I found out? What? There is something you can do. Sonogram. And I just did it. I found it, and I brought it up to him. They do a lower abdominal sonogram of your kidney, your pancreas, your liver, and it can find a tumor in its very beginning. And so sonogram, there's no radiation,
And
there's
you
no...
can- and you can tell what gender it
and
is?
it's $400.
You can tell.
And you tell the gender of the... And it's $400. You know,
apologize.
it's no, $200.
Wow.
It's not expensive.
it's not
You can
expensive.
do it out of pocket. You know, so when I found out about it, and now I've added that into my thing. I do that. I do that every year now, and I've met a
Part of
few
your
people.
regular checkup.
That's right. I throw that in there, you know, and so I went back to my doctor and I told him about it. I said, what? He goes, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, it's good. And I said, is it expensive? He goes, no. And I said, why don't you tell me about that? He goes, well, one, I'm going to give you one piece of advice. You don't want to tell a doctor to tell you about every test you can possibly take.
Right, because
There's a lot
insane.
of them.
Yeah.
He goes, now, pancreatic and liver cancer, according to him, he said, are rare cancers.
Yeah.
They're rare. Generally.
But death sentences.
Yes. And so generally we don't, you're not looking for it unless there's a history of it in your family,
Right.
So they're rare cancers. He goes, the reason I didn't bring that up to you is, okay, so you have a sonogram of that. And let's say we find something. We find a polyp, a growth in your pancreas. Now, we don't know what it is. We don't know if it's cancerous, if it's benign. We don't know if it's nothing, if it's something. We don't know. It's not big enough. There's nothing else going on that says that you have liver cancer, but there's a polyp there. Okay, now, going in and having a biopsy is not just a la procedure.
Sure, yeah.
It's a
Super
thing.
expensive, probably.
And he goes, now, what's the right thing to do?
And not covered, probably.
That's right. Well, he goes, what's the right thing to do with that? Keep an eye on it. Just keep it. You know it's there. Keep an eye on it. Now, if you're the kind of person that can know that there's a polyp or maybe a small growth in your pancreas or your liver and it not bother you day by day, it doesn't consume you, cool. You're a good candidate for doing that. You can go, hey, we'll just watch it. If it starts to get bigger, if something changes, we'll do something. But he goes, let me tell you something, Les. There's a lot of people out there that would drive them mad.
Yeah.
It would drive them mad, knowing that it's there.
I can feel it.
Knowing it's there.
I can feel it's growing.
They would constantly, they would just.
Talk about
is that my pancreas?
Talk about like a placebo effect that it could have on you too, where you just you blame everything on it. Like,
Yeah.
I got a headache. It must be the fucking cancer. You know what I mean? Like.
But you catch chlamydia. You're like, it hurts when I pee. It must be the pancreas.
Pancreatic cancer.
Yep. But I'll tell you what, man, I'm doing that test.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's starting to get there though.
Because I mean,
I had a thing, and I think this is the separation that we're talking about. It from, I had a lesion on my tongue. Like, I want to be a professional comedian. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
you gotta nip that in the bud, pal. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
yes.
The biopsy wasn't covered.
What do you do? Yeah.
I had to pay out of pocket because I got to find out about if I have tongue cancer.
Yeah.
But the government was like, nah, you can have tongue cancer. We don't care if you have tongue cancer.
So crazy.
It's unbelievable.
How is that?
It's a weird.
It's unbelievable.
Thing. Yeah.
I mean, that's where you listen to Elizabeth Warren, where she's going, she's going, originally, from what I understand, she goes, I wasn't completely for going all the way on healthcare being government, being but she goes, I can't find anything redeeming about insurance companies. I can't find that insurance companies are doing anything but maximizing profits.
Yep.
Which
it's brutal.
It's
so brutal.
But I just hate the idea of it being all one way or the other. I think there needs to be some balance in there because even to going all a single payer, it puts too much power on that end, and it becomes weird, probably.
I'm not Medicaid.
Yeah.
Okay. The threshold is $13,000 a year. Like, if you make $13,000 a year, if you make $13,001 a year, you can't have Medicaid. You have to single payer coverage.
Right.
So if let's say I make $15,000 a year, and then I have to pay $400 a month for insurance, right? Because Medicaid doesn't cover it. So what's my total income now? $600 a month?
Right.
So I'm supposed to get back and forth to my job that pays me minimum wage, have a place to live, eat, gas or whatever, public transportation, whatever, for this job that pays me minimum wage, and then also afford my health insurance, and then, God forbid, anything happens.
Yeah.
Right.
And I have like $8,000 deductible.
Oh, right.
I'm out I'm out of everything. So where's my incentive as a young adult in America to join the workforce? Where's my incentive? I would rather make nothing, live at home or in squalor with some friends, illegally sell whatever I can sell, and make under $13,000
Sure.
so I can have the free health care.
Sure.
Or we can make universal health care with a single payer option, which is what's been proposed all along.
Right.
So if you're a rich guy and you want to pay $800 a month, pay $800 a month.
Yeah.
But for the rest of us, we don't want to pay $800 a month, you're automatically covered.
Yeah.
And then I have no excuse. I'm going to work because
Yeah.
I don't like living in squalor,
Yeah.
but I don't want to be in debt to the hospital if anything goes wrong.
Absolutely. And you know where else? You know where else that happens? A buddy of mine runs a big nightclub in Memphis. Big, and they have like 50, 60 employees, and
Holy shit.
25 or 30 of those guys are working back in the kitchen. They're young, and a lot of them are young Black Latino guys. And he goes, they're great workers. They're good guys. He goes, I'm paying them like $10 an hour, $12 an hour.
Whatever the lowest they can get away with
goes,
paying 'em.
but they all, by the time they're, and he goes, and he has some of them that are 15, 16, 17 years old. They all have 2 kids already. They've already knocked up 1 or 2 girls, right? By the time they're 8, so as soon as they turn 18, the girl's taking them to court that day to have their wages garnished.
Yeah.
Well, he goes, well, they're like, am I going to go bust my ass for $12 an hour and I only get to take 8 of it home?
Yeah.
And I'm giving this woman that I don't even like,
Yeah.
and I have no relationship with the child,
Yeah.
that money, or am I just going to go out on the streets and sell pot and drugs? And
Yeah.
and he's like, most of these young guys don't really want to do that. They don't want that lifestyle, but they just they all get themselves in that. I mean, he said it's just an epidemic of a problem.
I know. I have buddies in jail, and I know people who are just like, I'd rather be here because it's not that bad anymore. There's central air. You know, you get 3 square meals, gym membership, health care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or I could go back home in the Bronx, not be able to afford the smallest apartment, not eat ramen, not have TV or anything.
Sure.
Sure.
You're setting up a culture of people that go, I am more comfortable and feel safer institutionalized.
Right.
I am much more comfortable in an institutionalized
That's scary.
situation.
I think the root of all of it
Yeah.
is that the oligarchy here is content with their subjects feeling that way.
Yeah.
They don't feel bad
Yeah.
for the guy who can't afford his cancer medicine. They don't feel bad for the guy who
It's their
got
problem.
someone pregnant at 16. The kid was... None of you were fucking at 16? We were all fucking at 16.
Yeah.
That guy got unlucky.
Yeah.
It's just outrageous.
Well, if you're from a family that's successful, even if you do that, it's taken care of, one way or the other.
One way or the other. Either she moves to a farm where, you know what I mean? Like, she's visiting her aunt and uncle for the summer.
Yeah.
And then she comes back still a virgin.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
she has
it's
the
her-
kid, and
or
they-
it's her aunt
Yeah.
has a kid.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you know what I mean? Like,
It's weird.
I always, whenever like there's a huge age gap, like I'm 10 years from my sister. Whenever there's a huge age gap like that, I'm always like, "That's not your mom."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like my friend's 16 years younger than his sister, and I'm like, that's your mom, dude.
Yeah.
Your sister's your mom.
Jesus.
I'm like, your grandmother raised you.
That's dark as fuck.
Exactly.
Sister mom.
Yeah, and then my friend Chris, he has a younger brother, Sal, and he's 18 years younger than him, or 16 years younger than him. And I'm always like, oh yeah, your brother, Sal. Like, okay.
Right.
That's believable. Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's just always that, as always that part of society that just looks at any of that and goes, well, just work hard and pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and there's plenty of opportunity out there for you. You should be able to do it.
I just made a meme. I just made a meme, and it was their generation. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Our generation, and it was a pair of bootstraps that cost $12,000.
Yeah. Yeah. They just expect you to work your way out of it, no problem.
Just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like,
But-
your college, our
Yeah.
college educations were $150,000, and then when we got out of college, there weren't jobs in the fields we went to college for.
Right.
What are we supposed to do?
Well, and two, even with the fact that, I know I did a thing for the Home Builders Association. And guy that got up and spoke was the regional president of the thing. He said, we have got to start educating parents that their kids don't need to go to college to be successful. He said, I got drywallers that own 2 homes. He goes, a skilled laborer can make a really nice living,
Yeah.
and in a lot of cases do better than someone with a college degree. In a whole lot of cases do better than someone with a college degree.
And you show me someone with a college degree that works in the field that they got a college degree in. Outside of lawyer and doctor,
Yeah.
if you have a college degree in like psychology or sociology, you're a teacher. If you have a college degree in whatever finance, you're a you work
7-Eleven.
You work at a startup,
Yeah.
internet startup.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Well, you really, nowadays it's like and I've seen this several times, people talk about, you want to train kids. When you're going for that type of degree, there should be, unless they go, if you're coming from a wealthy family, fine, go get a liberal arts. Do whatever you want, great.
Nuts.
Liberal arts educations are great. You can be creative and da. But if you're not, you need to have a dollar figure on the back of your degree that is going to pay for that degree and create a nice lifestyle for you. Or don't do it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that
But
you've
again,
got kids that come from low income backgrounds that they don't have adults around them that can advise them and help them and show them where to go. They're lost.
You're
that
asking
pulling you up by the
kids-
bootstraps.
You're
thing.
asking
You're
kids that you
lost.
don't trust with a vote. You don't trust to buy tobacco. You don't trust to buy alcohol. You don't trust to watch an R-rated movie, to rent porn. You don't trust them to do any of these things. But then but those kids have to make a decision that their whole life is based on.
Yeah.
What are you going to college for? What are you
going
going to do? And it's like, man, I can't even sign on to Pornhub.
Yeah.
What you want to know?
When I was
I don't know what I
seven,
jerk off to. I'm supposed to know what I'm going
Right.
to be for the rest of my life?
when I was a senior in high school, so I was 17 years old, and I had a sociology class, an elective, and the guy that taught it, Mr. Fields, he was a good teacher, a cool guy, but he got up there in front of the class, within the first week or two, and he goes, all right, everybody in this class are seniors. You're all seniors. You're getting ready to graduate from high school. At this point of your life, you should have a good idea about where you're headed and what you want to do. And I raised my hand and I said, Mr. Fields, let me tell you something, man. Here's what I know. I know I don't want to work in a short order restaurant as a cook. I know I don't want to work on a railroad spiking ties. I know I don't want to work construction. You want to know why I know that? Because those are the 3 jobs I've had in my life. And I don't want to do any one of those 3 jobs. I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
Now,
Outside of that,
beyond that, how am I supposed to know what the hell I'm supposed to do at this point? I've had no experience, you know. And he agreed with me, you know. And you know what I think, and I love that Germany does this, and they proposed it here. I
Get rid
love
of all
the
the
idea of
sorry.
no.
Sorry.
I love the idea that in Germany, when you graduate from high school, you have to do 2 years of service, government service. Now, you can do that in the military, or you can do it in a lot of different areas of social service. But you give 2 years to that. Now, what that does is, and they've got youth hostels for these guys to live in. You know what I mean?
Teaches
You're
you
getting
value.
paid.
Yeah.
So what it does is it takes those years of 18 to 20 where you've got time to grow up. You've got time to go out and see what it's like to be an adult, hold down a job, you know, play around with some different things, see what's out there before you're just thrown into it.
You gotta make a decision. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I just think that would be a wonderful thing to have here. I mean, you know, Clinton started that AmeriCorps thing, you know, but it's not.
That's all. That's most. You have to be from a
But as soon
wealthier
as-
background.
Do ya?
to get-
As soon as
I
you
mean,
say,
they don't say that, but that's who's doing that is like.
but as soon as you say like,
It's not inner city kids.
Yeah, you're going to George Washington University, and then you go into AmeriCorps. You're not coming off of
Phoenix
West 4th
University.
Street. Yeah.
Right.
well, I think that would work except from the fact that it's just mandatory, and I think that it should be, but I think that would just it just would never work here because of the simple word that's mandatory. You know what I mean?
I mean, to me,
'Cause people will be like, they freak out about that idea
But what
that
about-
things are that things that you have to do things. You know, we're in
Yeah.
America, it's freedom.
But what about like an opt out? Like everyone has to do 2 years of whatever, and then in return, universal health care. You
Well,
don't
that's
want
what
to do
I'm
it.
saying.
You don't
And-
want to do it. Don't do it.
that's right.
Single payer.
Well,
And I
So
think,
rich people cannot do it, and lazy people cannot do
Right.
it, and then everyone else can do it.
and I wouldn't even have a problem with that 2 years of service if you were, let's just say that you're gifted some way. You know what I
Right.
mean? You're really sharp in something that you're heading in a direction with. You know, you're straight A student, blah 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 blah, and you might let them go in that direction as long as they're. But you know, I mean, I don't have a problem with something like that.
I think it would work.
You know,
And back to the healthcare thing, like I was thinking, how many people would be willing to do the short order cook or the driving or the construction job if their health insurance was covered, if they got great coverage? You know what I mean? Because that's like the scariest thing ever is death or a short life, right? But if we were taken care of and we had amazing healthcare, don't you think that would? I don't know. I think people would be more willing to do those shitty jobs because they're taken care of in the long run, rather
well,
than
I mean,
they don't have the yacht, but still. Like,
I mean that would be. I mean that's what we see when you talk to people that live in France and Spain and Germany and Italy and places where they have that, in Canada
Yeah.
or whatever. And now, granted, they pay a shitload of taxes.
sure.
They pay a lot. We pay a
We
lot of
pay a
taxes.
shitload of taxes.
We do pay a shitload of taxes.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Yeah, we do.
We pay a shitload of taxes, and we pay a shitload for insurance, and we get. It's a joke what the interest in this country is like. The banks just steal from you hand over fist.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I was just in Spain, and some friends of mine just recently moved there, but they were talking about you're on vacation in Spain, and you have to go to the hospital for some reason. You get the same health care as an American going into a hospital as the Spanish person gets.
Yeah.
You get the same health care you could go into a hospital, you know, let's just say, say you had an episode and you passed out or something, and they put you in a hospital. They check you out, and you're 50, so they're not sure if maybe it was a heart attack or a stroke, so they want to check all that out, make sure that you're okay. So they do that, and you're in there for maybe a day or two, and then everything's okay, worked out, everything was okay, you were dehydrated, blah, 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 they let you go. Now, in America, you would have probably a $20,000 or $30,000 hospital bill.
Which is insane.
Is what you would have. In Spain, it would probably be a couple of $100, if that.
If that.
I was on tour in Germany in 2001 or 2, and our guitar tech got sick. He had an ingrown hair that became infected in his back, in his spine, so it affected his walking. He needed to be rushed to the hospital from the venue. We took him from the venue to the hospital in an ambulance. He got operated on emergency there, and then he had to take public transportation 2 days later to meet us in Prague or wherever the F we were. $9.
That's amazing.
They charged him $9. $9 American dollars.
That's amazing.
Are you kidding me?
That's how it should be, I think. I don't know.
Well,
It's shit.
they can do it.
I'll fly to
They
Germany.
They do it in these other countries.
Well, why are we doing it here?
Every time, and you've obviously traveled in a lot too in Europe,
Yeah.
and you go, whenever I go there and come back here, what always hits me is it's striking that you realize there's certain things that we do in America better than they do in Europe, and there's certain things they do in Europe better than we do. Why can't we blend these cultures? If you did, you just have the most wonderful culture.
I think it's greed. It's that like the people at the top want the best treatment. They want the best service. You can go to a restaurant and explain it right there. Like,
Did you guys see the new Bill Burr special yet?
No, I haven't
No.
seen that yet.
we want to do a watch party.
He says, I'm not ruining anything or spoiling anything. He just, at one point, he says, the country's too big. How can you expect the people in Scotland to have the same opinions as the people in Hungary? That's the distance between Utah and Jersey. And
Yeah.
you want them to have
Yeah.
this. We have to have the same. We have to believe in the same things. We have to have the same
Yeah.
laws and regulations. It's not. It's an impossibility. We're different people.
Yeah. But we can agree that $9 for emergency surgery is pretty fucking sweet, right? Like, I think we can all agree on that.
I think he's getting ready to wrap up. As soon as he does, I'll just holler at you. Come on out.
All right.
Do we just end? That's it?
Let's wrap it. Fuck it. Thanks for being on, Neil. Do you got any shows coming up you want to pitch or
No, I'm here. And then
just in Florida?
I'm doing I don't know, plug other clubs. I
Yeah,
feel weird.
fuck it,
Yeah,
why not?
I'm in Laughing at the end of October. I'm at Side Splitters at the beginning of November.
Yeah.
Hopefully back here next quarter.
Instagram? Anything?
Oh yeah, YouTube, man. Find me on YouTube if you
YouTube?
think
Neil Rubenstein?
If you think I'm funny at all, find me on YouTube.
What is your YouTube thing?
It's Neil Rubenstein Reviews It, but I think if you just put in my name, you can find it pretty easy. I post a lot of videos, so I'm like high up in the search.
Okay.
But yeah, that's
Cool.
that's what I push.
Yeah.
Trying to make that Skrilla,
Skrilla.
that guac.
The squawk.
I want that guac. That bread.
All right. All right. Thanks, man.
Hey, thanks for listening to yet another episode of the Conversation podcast here at Mccurdy's Comedy Theater. Go to our website, mccurdyscomedy.com, to check out all of our upcoming shows and events and special events. We got a lot of great things coming up. Also, if you liked Rob Little, check him out at roblittle.com or follow him on Instagram at roblittlecomedy or Twitter at roblittlecomic. And if you liked Neil, please check his Instagram out at Neil Rubenstein. That's NeilRubenstein. And he also has a YouTube channel called Neil Rubenstein Reviews It. Very, very funny guy. Both of them are very funny. And I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.